GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, I'm Jordan Parker. This afternoon we'll unpack the Yorkville Murals Festival losing city funding, a tragic crash on HWY 403 in Oakville, and the TTC's upcoming Scarborough busway launch. Traffic's moving moderate and BTS is set to sell out Rogers Stadium. Nathan, what do you make of that?
Cirque du Soleil's Lucia returns to Toronto's Meridian Hall for a 12-night engagement beginning next Monday, featuring a blend of aerial acts, live music, and immersive visual storytelling.
Tickets range from $25 to $100, with online sales opening yesterday. A limited block of same-day box office tickets remains available for walk-ins.
Audience members receive glowing wristbands that synchronize with performers' movements, creating a participatory light show that changes throughout the performance, enhancing the immersive experience.
Lots to get to. Let's begin our afternoon lineup, diving straight into the stories you need to hear before heading out. Here are our top stories.
The Yorkville Murals Festival has lost its city grant as a surge in applications intensifies competition for municipal arts funding, leaving organizers facing a budget shortfall. Simone Okonkwo has the full story.
The city's arts office has just told the Yorkville Murals Festival that its usual municipal grant will not be approved this year. Co-founder Maya Patel, standing beside a freshly painted wall, explained the decision came as the number of groups seeking Toronto's cultural funding swelled dramatically. A city spokesperson confirmed that the budget allocated for community festivals is being spread across a record high volume of applications, leaving the mural event with a shortfall that could force cuts to programming and artist fees. Festival organizers are now scrambling to close the gap, looking to private sponsors and local businesses to keep the Summer Street Showcase alive. Simone Okonkwo, GMNA News, Yorkville.
A fatal two-vehicle collision on Highway 403 westbound at Dundas Street East has closed the roadway, leaving one person dead and another injured as OPP and emergency crews work the scene. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Just after midnight on August 21st, a two-vehicle collision on Highway 403 westbound at Dundas Street East sent the stretch of road into lockdown. Ontario Provincial Police arrived on scene, confirming one fatality and a second person with injuries. Both cars were heavily damaged, the second vehicle bearing the brunt of the impact. Emergency crews worked through the early hours to extract the occupants and provide medical aid before transporting the injured to hospital. The crash forced traffic to be rerouted onto alternate routes as the highway remained closed while OPP investigators processed the scene. Drivers were advised to avoid the area until the closure was lifted later this morning. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Oakville.
The Ontario Court of Appeal has upheld a conditional sentence for a Whitby man convicted of shooting at armed intruders during a home invasion, rejecting his appeal. Simone Okonkwo has the full story.
The Ontario Court of Appeal has upheld the conditional sentence handed down to a Whitby man after he was found guilty of shooting at armed intruders who fled a home invasion. The court reviewed the case following the defendant's appeal, concluding that the original sentence, a 12-month conditional term with community service and a curfew, was appropriate given the circumstances. Prosecutors argued that the shooting posed a serious risk, while the defense maintained the defendant acted in self-defense as the intruders were armed and threatening. The appellate judges affirmed the lower court's decision, leaving the conditional order in place. The ruling closes the legal battle for the homeowner, who will continue to serve his sentence under the conditions set by the court. Simone Okonkwo, GMNA News, Whitby.
Ontario's municipal candidate nominations close Friday afternoon, marking the final deadline for those seeking office in this fall's municipal elections across the province. Voters will see the final ballot lineup soon. Dev Shohri has the full story.
Nominations for Ontario's upcoming fall municipal elections are set to close this Friday afternoon, August 21, 2026. Prospective candidates across the province have until the deadline to file the required paperwork with their respective municipalities. Election officials say the cutoff applies to all towns, cities, and regional municipalities, and any late submissions will be rejected. The closing of nominations marks the final step before the official list of candidates is published, allowing voters to see who will be on the ballot this fall. Municipal clerks across the province are confirming that all filings are being processed in accordance with provincial guidelines. Campaign teams are already gearing up for door-to-door outreach and online messaging as the election calendar moves forward. Dev Shohri, GMNA News, Toronto. Ontario Trade Minister Vic Fedeli recorded meals and travel from recent trade missions as expenses of his riding association rather than provincial government funds, indicating donor-paid costs. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Meals and travel costs from recent trade missions have been logged under the Riding Association of Ontario's Trade Minister, Vic Fedeli, rather than the provincial treasury. The expenses, which include dinner receipts and airfare, were recorded as contributions from party donors, according to filings reviewed by the office. Fedeli, who serves in Premier Doug Ford's cabinet, traveled on official business, but the accounting shows the Riding Association covering the bills. The move has sparked questions about the separation of party fundraising and government spending, as the province's financial disclosures list the costs as donor-funded. No correction has been filed by the ministry to reclassify the charges as public expenses. The filing was submitted earlier this month and remains on public record. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Toronto.
Coming up, we'll break down the TTC's Scarborough busway launch on September 30th, and its impact on commuters. Stay tuned, we will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. TTC announces the Scarborough busway will open on September 30th. Completing the project roughly 6 months ahead of schedule in Scarborough, Toronto. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
The new Scarborough busway is set to open on September 30, 2026, a full half year earlier than the original timeline. TTC officials gathered here this morning as the final stretch of dedicated bus lanes was marked complete, with fresh shelters and real-time arrival screens already installed at each stop. Test runs of the new articulated buses rolled through the corridor today, showing smoother travel times compared with the mixed traffic sections they'll replace. The agency says the earlier opening results from progress on construction and signaling work. Once open, commuters along the corridor will have a faster, more reliable route into downtown Toronto. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Scarborough.
Halton Regional Police are probing an alleged Quebec car thief who attached tracking units to luxury vehicles across the GTA after an Oakville resident discovered a device on their car. Simon Okonkwo has the full story.
Police say a car thief operating out of Quebec has been slipping tiny tracking units onto luxury vehicles throughout the greater Toronto-Hamilton area. The scheme came to light in April 2026 when an Oakville driver spotted an acute-egg device attached to their sedan. Halton Regional Police Service traced the tag back to a larger network, alleging the thief used the gadgets to pinpoint high-value cars before stealing them. Investigators have now launched a province-wide probe, combing through dozens of similar devices found on models ranging from sport coupes to high-end SUVs. Authorities are urging owners of premium automobiles to inspect their wheels and door frames for any unfamiliar hardware. Simon Okonkwo, GMNA News, Oakville.
An 18-year-old man appeared in Toronto court on a first-degree murder charge tied to last month's Salsa on St. Clair Festival shooting, which left multiple victims. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
The 18-year-old suspect was ushered into the downtown courtroom this morning, his hands cuffed as the judge read a charge of first-degree murder. Prosecutors say the charge stems from the fatal gunfire that ripped through the Salsa on St. Clair Festival last month, a night that left several concert-goers wounded and one person dead. Police had earlier taken two 18-year-old men into custody after the barrage of bullets rang out near the food trucks and live stage. Only one of those arrests is before the bench today, while the other remains held pending a bail hearing. Court officials warned the case will move forward swiftly, given the seriousness of the alleged crime. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, St. Clair.
Advance voting starts Friday for 3 federal by-elections, 2 in the Toronto area and 1 in Montreal, after Prime Minister Mark Carney secured a majority. Dev Shohri has the full story.
Advance voting opens today, Friday, for 3 federal by-elections across Ontario and Quebec. Voters in 2 Toronto area ridings and 1 Montreal area riding can cast ballots early before the scheduled April 13th election day. The 3 contests were the decisive factor in granting Prime Minister Mark Carney a majority government after the results were tallied. Election officials have set up dozens of polling stations in community centers, schools, and libraries, offering extended hours through the weekend. Early voters are urged to bring identification and their voter card, while staff monitor turnout to ensure a smooth process. The early voting period will run until the day before the official vote. Dev Shohri, GMNA News, Toronto. BTS will headline 2 consecutive sold-out concerts at Rogers Stadium this weekend, August 22nd and 23rd, as part of their Arirang World Tour across North America. Dev Shohri has the full story. Back-to-back stadium shows are set for the Korean pop phenomenon BTS at Rogers Stadium this weekend. The group will take the stage on Saturday, August 22nd, followed by a second performance on Sunday, August 23rd, as part of their Arirang World Tour. Both dates are already sold out, filling the venue to capacity with eager fans from across the city. Ticket holders are gathering early to soak in the pre-show atmosphere. Organizers say the concerts mark the tour's latest stop through North America, bringing the high-energy production that has defined BTS's recent runs. Security and staff are preparing for the influx of attendees, while the surrounding streets buzz with anticipation for the 2-night-long celebrations. Dev Shohri, GMNA News, Toronto.
Now let's check in with our meteorologist for the afternoon outlook. Stay tuned.
A sinking high-pressure ridge yields a dry, calm afternoon, while an upper jet nudges the next system. On this date, Toronto once sweltered to a record high of 31.5 degrees Celsius in 2003, a peak that rode the tail of a continent-wide heat wave. By contrast, the record low of 11.4 degrees set in 2024 arrived during an unseasonably cold snap as summer faded. Normal August highs sit near 24 degrees with lows around 16, so today's mild 19 sits comfortably between those extremes. The swing from scorching record to brisk freeze shows how the local climate responds when large-scale patterns shift. Zooming into live radar, the screen is clear across southern Ontario. No rain echoes from the Great Lakes and no convective cells dot the map. The emptiness stems from a high-pressure dome suppressing upward motion, while upper jet overhead is too fast and too far north to force moisture into our air mass. With the system marching east, next band of rain won't touch the city until after sunset, so we turn to today's outlook. At noon, the city basks under a clear sky with a temperature of 19 degrees and a northeast breeze of 5 kilometers per hour. The high-pressure ridge that dominates the region is beginning to fall, allowing a subtle southerly surge aloft as the jet stream sweeps in from the southwest at 87 kilometers per hour. That upper-level push will lift temperatures toward a high of 23 this afternoon, while the surface remains dry thanks to subsiding air. Humidity stays high at 80%, so the feels-like temperature will hover near 22. UV index sits at 6, and the wind will peak at 16 kilometers per hour from the east, well below any advisory threshold. No weather alerts are active. With next moisture plume expected after sunset, the day remains clear as we look ahead to 5-day outlook. Saturday brings the bite of the weekend with a high of 24 and a low of 17. A low-level trough slides in from the west, loading the air with moisture and producing overcast skies and a 60% chance of rain by midday. Sunday stays similar, 23 highs and 15 lows, but rain probability climbs to 65% as the system deepens. Monday cools to a high of 18 and a low of 15. Lingering moisture keeps clouds thick and a 55% chance of showers. Tuesday clears, returning to a high of 24 and a low of 15 under a building ridge, offering sunshine and light winds. Wednesday mirrors Tuesday with a high of 23, low of 15 and clear skies, completing a swift shift from a wet weekend to a dry stretch. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
Next up, we'll cover traffic, preview Ed Sheeran and Cirque du Soleil, and recap the Jays' victory over the Rays. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
University Boulevard is closed at the intersection with Yonge, forcing traffic onto Yonge and Bayview. Expect a 5 to 10 minute delay through the north end, especially for commuters heading to the university campus. Bill Crothers Boulevard remains shut near the Don Valley Parkway, diverting vehicles onto the parkway and nearby residential streets. Drivers should allow extra time. Kennedy Road is also closed between Steeles and McCowan, routing traffic onto Shepherd and Bayview. Caston Avenue in the East End is blocked, pushing local traffic onto Danforth and Victoria Park. Parliament Street lane closures continue from Distillery Lane to the CNR, slowing north-south flow but keeping the road open. On transit, escalators are out of service at York Mills, York University, Broadview, Christie, Kennedy, Spadina, Bessarion Avenue and the elevator at Don Valley, meaning riders will need to use stairs and may encounter crowding at peak. Expect these conditions to hold through the early afternoon before any additional work begins.
Ed Sheeran takes the Rogers Center tonight, a stadium-scale pop show you won't want to miss if you're looking for a big-ticket night out. Across town, Cirque du Soleil presents Lucia Under the Big Top Toronto, a dazzling blend of acrobatics and storytelling that turns a simple evening into a visual feast. Looking ahead, BTS returns for 2-night stadium concerts at Rogers Stadium on Saturday and Sunday. The K-pop megastar's comeback promises sold-out energy and a chance to be part of a global moment. And starting today, Sankofa Fest lights up Sankofa Square with 3 days of African diasporic art, music, fashion, and food. A vibrant cultural celebration perfect for families and festival lovers alike. If you're craving a classic summer fare, the Canadian National Exhibition opens at Exhibition Place and runs through early September, delivering rides, food stalls, and live concerts for the whole family. That's the pulse of Toronto right now: music, circus, pop, and culture all within reach. And now here's Marcus with sports.
Friday's lineup shifts and a hot start ignite Toronto's summer push. Left-hander Mason Fluharty earns the Friday opening assignment against the Yankees, giving Toronto a fresh look in the rotation. His spot on the mound tests the Yankees' right-handed depth and could set the tone for the Jays' bullpen usage in the early stretch. Shane Bieber delivered a dominant 7-inning performance, allowing just 1 run as Toronto blanked Tampa Bay. The veteran's command paired with Daz Cameron's 5th-inning homer, reinforcing the rotation's ace status and giving the Jays momentum heading into the final weeks of the season. Daz Cameron celebrated his first home run in a Blue Jays uniform, a pivotal blast that helped Toronto secure a 5-1 victory over Tampa Bay. The win extended the Jays' streak to 7 straight series, underscoring the depth of their lineup as they chase a playoff berth. Keep eyes on the rotation as the stretch tightens.
Thanks, Marcus. Roots Corp, the iconic Toronto-born apparel brand headquartered on Bloor Street, is stepping into a new chapter. The company announced a go-private transaction led by Marquee Brands at $4.1 per share, taking it off the public market for the first time in its history. Roots, known for its casual, Canadian-crafted clothing and sturdy leather goods, will now have the flexibility to invest directly in product innovation and expand community-focused stores across the city. The move could mean more locally sourced materials, new collaborations with neighborhood designers, and jobs that keep our streets vibrant. For Torontonians, Roots isn't just a label, it's a piece of our identity, stitched into the fabric of the city. Stay tuned as we hear from the Ontario Education Minister on how teacher talks could keep schools running smoothly. Coming up next. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Toronto's K-pop fever is in full swing as BTS returns for a sold-out two-night concert at Rogers Stadium, turning Exhibition Place into a buzzing pop culture hotspot with thousands of fans filling the streets and venues. The city's energy is electric. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks, Jordan Parker. I'm standing on the edge of Rogers Stadium, where the roar of 1,000 cheering voices rolls off the concrete and into the night sky. Neon banners bearing the BTS emblem flutter above the packed seats, while a sea of light sticks pulses in sync with a pre-show remix spilling from the speakers. Below, Yonge Street has been transformed into a temporary BTS boulevard, lined with pop culture kiosks, giant photo walls and food stalls selling kimchi tacos and bubble tea desserts. Families and friends weave through the crowds, some clutching handmade signs in Korean and English, others sharing selfies that capture the electric buzz of the Arirang World Tour's arrival. Across the way, Mel Lastman Square hosts a Korean cultural festival, where drummers demonstrate traditional beats and fans try on hanbok before heading back for the main event. The energy here feels like a city-wide celebration of music, identity, and community, turning Toronto into a global pop culture hotspot for a weekend. Carl Dumont virtually at Rogers Stadium. Welcome back. Ontario's Education Minister says ongoing teacher contract talks are progressing and are expected to avoid work stoppages, despite technical disputes over negotiation issues that have slowed progress. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Negotiations on the province's teacher contracts are moving forward, with the Education Minister saying the talks are on track to avoid any work stoppage. The collective agreements for Ontario's teachers are set to run out at the end of August 2026, prompting intensive discussions this week. While both sides remain engaged, progress has been slowed by technical disagreements about which topics belong in the bargaining table. The minister expressed confidence that those hurdles can be cleared without triggering a strike, emphasizing that maintaining classroom continuity remains a priority. Both the government and teachers' unions are continuing to meet as the deadline approaches, hoping to reach a deal before the contracts lapse. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Toronto.
Former Liberal MP Sean Chen has resigned his federal seat and is now campaigning for a Toronto City Council position in Scarborough North, aiming for the upcoming municipal election. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Former Liberal MP Sean Chen has stepped down from his federal seat and is now throwing his hat in the ring for a Toronto City Council position in Scarborough North. Chen announced his candidacy today, saying he wants to bring his experience in Parliament to local issues ranging from transit to affordable housing. The former riding representative said his resignation earlier this year was to focus on municipal politics and to give the community a stronger voice at City Hall. He will join a crowded field as the city prepares for its October municipal election, where voters in Scarborough North will decide who fills the council seat. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Scarborough North.
Thanks, Toronto, for joining us on the lunch break. It was great to see the TTC's upcoming Scarborough busway set for September 30th, a big step for commuters. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter to you. Stay tuned and have a wonderful afternoon.